The furry fandom is what you make of it. I've heard this saying many times, and after being in the fandom for a while, I think it's true. But what does it really mean? Like, how do you make your furry experience? This is something that many other furries and I have to figure out pretty much right after we join the fandom. You might have the basics down, you might have a name, a fursona, and maybe even a ref sheet. But after that, what's next? How do I start making my time in the fandom valuable to me and the community? Well, today we're going to look at a few places to start making your experience in the furry fandom worthwhile. There are 3 popular paths that members tend to go down when it comes to being active members of the fandom: art, conventions, and community involvement. We're going to explore each of these with the hopes that at the end of this video, you'll start to develop a roadmap for your own to start making your journey toward active participation in the furry fandom. And trust me, being active in this fandom is so worth it. Getting engrossed in this community can lead to some pretty amazing discoveries and unsuspecting personal growth. You'll find talents you never knew you had or felt like sharing, make friends who actually like being around you, and find a sense of belonging that's hard to come by anywhere else. But you still need a place to start, and you might be wondering why these abstract ideas of art, conventions, and community involvement lead to a positive fandom experience. Well, let me explain. When it comes to getting your start in being active in the furry fandom, there's honestly no better way to begin with than what I like to call the lifeblood of this community. Have you ever wondered what your fursona would look like in different styles, engaging in different activities, or just existing in different environments? Well, you're not alone. This curiosity is a common starting point for many furries, so much so that it led many of them to the fandom itself, and it's one of the reasons why art is such a vital part of our community. Let's talk about commissioning art. It's a big deal in the furry world, and for good reason. When you commission an artist to create a piece featuring your fursona, you're not just getting a cool picture. You're getting the abstract, nebulous idea of your fursona and realizing it in something that you can see. It's a unique way of expressing yourself through the eyes and hands of an artist and supporting the overall well-being at the furry fandom, both at the same time. You see, art isn't just pretty pictures in our fandom, it's the lifeblood that keeps our community thriving. Think about it, those amazing convention banners, those eye-catching character designs, even the logos for furry events and groups. They're all created by talented artists within our community. And when you commission your own art, you're directly supporting these creators and helping to keep the community itself healthy. And because art is so ubiquitous in this fandom, it's a very common way for others to give back to the fandom by making their own. Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking, but I can barely draw a straight line, and trust me, I can't do much more than that either. Here's the thing though, furry art isn't just about traditional drawing or digital painting, it's so much more diverse than that. Maybe you have a knack for writing stories about your fursona's adventures, or perhaps you can compose songs for your character or with other furry themes. Heck, you might even discover you have a talent for the physical craftiness needed for fursuit making, or have an eye for composition for photography. The point is that there are so many ways to express yourself artistically in this fandom, and the best part? You don't even have to be a master to start. We all begin somewhere, and the furry community is incredibly supportive of artists at all skill levels because we know how important it is to our community. In fact, this actually leads me to one of the coolest things about engaging with art in the furry fandom, the connections you make along the way. Now that I think about it, some of my best furry friendships started with a question about a commission they received, or a conversation about someone's creative process when writing visual novels. There's really something special about bonding over a shared love for bringing characters to life and the different ways we express our celebration of anthropomorphic animals in art. And it doesn't just stop at friendships. Collaboration is a big thing in our community. You might start by writing a story only to find an artist who wants to illustrate it. Or maybe you'll team up with a musician to create an entire band featuring your fursonas. The possibilities are really endless, and these collaborations often lead to some of the most exciting and innovative creations in the fandom, all because you bonded over art. Now, let's shift gears a little bit. Imagine a place where the fursonas of many members of our communities come to life, all while being surrounded by hundreds or even thousands of people who share our passion for anthropomorphic animals. That's the magic of furry conventions, and they're a key piece of the fandom experience for many in the community. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, didn't we just talk about art? How does that really connect to conventions? Well, if you think about it, conventions are like furry art galleries come to life. Remember all those commissioned pieces and collaborations we just discussed? Conventions are where you get to see them in person, both the people behind those commissions in their regular form, and some even in the form of their incredibly looking fursuits. Now, cons need no introduction. If you've watched this channel before, you know I love talking about them. And yet, I still have so much more to say about them, so make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so you don't miss any more new videos about them. But I will say this, there's nothing quite like the energy of a good furry convention. One of the biggest benefits of attending cons is the opportunity to really solidify friendships in this community. You have the chance to meet people from all walks of life who share your interests and hobbies. It's kind of like finding your tribe, you know? It might take a while to figure it out, but once you do, your reward is friendships that could possibly last a lifetime. Conventions also give you a chance to experience how furry culture is realized in different places. Each con has its own unique flavor, influenced by its location and the local furry community. It's a great way to broaden your horizons and see how diverse our fandom really is. Now, I know traveling to conventions might seem daunting, especially if you're new to the fandom, but here's a tip. Start small. Look for more local fur meets in your area. These are usually more casual gatherings where you can meet other furries without the pressure and the expense of a big event. And as you get more comfortable, you can work your way up to the larger regional or even international furry conventions. But no matter the size or the location, one thing I always appreciate about cons in this community is the sense of freedom I feel. It's like stepping out of the world where we're forced to conform to the norm to be acknowledged and into a world where you can fully express yourself without nearly as much judgment. Whether you're in full fursuit or just showing up with a tail and ears, you'll find acceptance and encouragement more often than not. Alright, we've talked about art and conventions, but there's one last crucial aspect of the furry fandom that really ties everything together: community involvement. Picture this, you check into your favorite furry Discord server and immediately you're greeted by name. People are excited to see you, asking about your day or your latest projects, or just sharing furry memes that they found. That's the power of community, and it's what makes the furry fandom feel like a second home to many of us. Now, when we talk about community involvement, we're not just talking about one specific thing. There are so many ways to engage with furry communities, both on and offline. Online, you got platforms like Discord, where furries gather in servers dedicated to everything from general chats to specific interests like art or gaming. Oftentimes, these are also centered around specific topics or individuals, which means hosting your own might be a good idea to keep engaged in a community that you cultivate. But let's not forget about the offline world. Remember those local fur meets and conventions we mentioned earlier? They're perfect opportunities to meet furries while building those gathering places up. Again, some of the coolest people I've met have come from volunteering my time to help run a furry convention, something we'll get into in a second. So that's great and all, but why is community involvement so important? Well, for starters, it provides a support network. Even in a fandom as engaging as this one, because it's so large, being a furry can still sometimes feel isolating, especially if you don't many other furries in your everyday life. But when you're actively involved in the community, you've got a whole group of people who understand and share your interests. Need advice on updating the design of your fursona? Want to vent about a bad day? Or maybe you just want to share your excitement about the latest furry bait character from a show or movie? Your furry community is there for you. But it's not just about what you could get from the community, it's also about what you could give back. And this is where things get really interesting. You see, the furry fandom is largely run by volunteers. Those conventions we love, organized by volunteers. The moderation teams on furry Discord servers or Twitch streams, yep, volunteers again. Even many furry artists and creators get their start by volunteering their talents to community projects. And the cool part is, volunteering in the furry community can take many forms. Maybe you have a knack for organization and could help plan local fur meets, or perhaps you're good with programming and can help make fun bots for a Discord server. Even something as simple as welcoming newcomers to the fandom or offering advice to those who need it is a valuable way to give back. Wow, I was really patting myself on the back with that writing there, wasn't I? And here's the thing, when you give back to the community, you're not just helping others, you're also helping yourself. Volunteering can be a great way to develop new skills, build confidence, or even discover hidden talents. I know furries who started helping out at conventions and ended up discovering a passion for event planning and now do it for cons outside of the furry space as well. But no matter how you do it, being a part of a community, whether as a participant or a volunteer, provides something that's hard to find elsewhere: a sense of belonging. In a world that often doesn't understand furries, and that's putting things very mildly, having a place where you can be yourself, express your creativity, and connect with other like-minded individuals is incredibly valuable. So we've explored 3 main paths in the furry fandom: art, conventions, and community involvement. But here's the thing about these 3. These paths aren't separate. They're more like intertwining trails that create a rich tapestry of experiences. You might start by commissioning art, which leads you to a convention to meet the artist in person, and enjoy the con so much that you come back and start volunteering, and take those skills and start running a tight-knit community local to you. Or maybe you'll do something like join a Discord server, make some friends, and collaborate on an album project together. The possibilities really are endless, and that's what makes the furry fandom so exciting. But if you need any advice on where to get started, even after this, again, start small. Try a lot of different things, even if it's just a little bit of them, and see what clicks with you. Remember, there's no right or wrong way to be a furry, but the instructions on how to be a furry aren't going to fall into your lap either. Your journey is uniquely yours, and the only question that I can't wait for you to answer is, what will you discover about yourself along the way? Alright, that's been it. Thank you for watching. If this video was helpful in any way, feel free to give it a like if you haven't already, and subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you for doing so, and yeah, that's it for this one. Catch you on the next one, but until then, stay wild out there. Peace.